Thank you very much. Please sit down. His Honor the Vice President, Dr. C. Mokham, Deputy Prime Minister Kiat Chon, of course, then one of our idols, Professor Klaus Schwab and Mrs. Hildy Schwab. Ms. Helen Clark, Mr. Tony Fernandez, Mr. Yoshihiko Kojima, members of the Philippine delegation, Mr. Jaime Augusto Sobel de Ayala, Mr. Guillermo Luz, members of the Philippine Cabinet present, delegates, participants of the World Economic Forum on the East Asian Summit, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I was asked earlier if I would be entertaining questions. I said, that I think is the main purpose of being here. Until I saw the ballroom and I was told that there are about 300 of us here. One question per person. I wonder when I'll finish answering all of your questions. But I will try to maximize your participation today. Allow me first to congratulate the government of Myanmar, led by His Excellency the President, not only for hosting this year's World Economic Forum on East Asia, but for more importantly, paving the way for greater economic and political inclusiveness in this very beautiful country. This truly serves to inspire others to pursue and institute meaningful social reform. 3 years ago, I came into office faced with the task of uprooting a long-entrenched culture of corruption and impunity in government, knowing that therein lay the key to reviving the economy and fostering broad-based growth for our countrymen. In our first weeks, and actually first months in office, we uncovered new and bigger problems practically every day. Problems that seem to have been in large part and for the longest time ignored by the people who created them. But we did not allow ourselves to be daunted. The Filipino people had elected us into office for a reason, and so we rolled up our sleeves and went straight to work. We reformed, for instance, the procurement and budgeting processes, taking funding away from programs that did not work, and pouring our resources into those that would benefit our people the most, from social services to health and education, to key reforms and infrastructure development. All this was done while adhering to strict standards of accountability and transparency. These same standards allowed us to make improvements to our revenue collection mechanisms, with our Bureau of Internal Revenue Collections growing by 28%. May we add that this was achieved without raising taxes. All of you will agree with the simple belief that guides our reform agenda. Corruption breeds waste. Today it is clear. Good governance has created a climate of confidence in the Philippines. Our stock market has soared over the past 3 years, while analysts the world over have given different names to our success. I have heard our country called the hotspot, Asia's rising tiger, or the brightest spark in Southeast Asia, just to name a few. These accolades are not unwarranted. For the first time in our history, the Philippines is rated investment grade by 2 major credit rating agencies. These agencies have cited our robust growth as well as the low and stable inflation rate in the country, all while many other economies are experiencing slowdowns. In fact, the Philippine economy has consistently surpassed all expectations so far. Full-year growth for 2012 was at 6.8%, higher than our own growth assumption of 6%. In the first quarter of 2013, our economy expanded by 7.8%. On the production side, this first quarter growth was the result of the expansion of all major sectors. Agriculture expanded by 3.3%, services by 7%, industry by 10.9%. I should emphasize that the key drivers of industry were manufacturing, which grew by 9.7%, and construction, which grew by 32.5%. On the demand side, I am told investment was just as significant a contributor to growth as household consumption. In particular, fixed capital formation grew by 16.8% due to vast increases in both public and private construction activity, as well as investments on durable equipment. I hope you do not mind my going into some detail. I do so only because these most recent numbers, together with our other achievements, tell a story that might be of interest to you. For example, manufacturing increased despite 8.4% decline in goods exports. This implies large domestic demand, large enough to offset lowered international demand. Public and private construction activities have expanded, indicating great improvements in our infrastructure. That this kind of economic growth is happening when we have just been upgraded to investment grade means that development can take place at an even faster rate, opening more sources of financing and redounding to lower borrowing costs, not only for our government, but also for businesses and investors. The lesson? This is the perfect time to invest in the Philippines. More and more opportunities have been created, both as a result and as an affirmation of our commitment to reform. And we are here today to share these opportunities and invite you to work with us. The development of infrastructure is necessary for the growth of all other sectors. Right now, the Philippines is behind its ASEAN counterparts in this regard, including the state of our roads. Instead of seeing this as a setback, we choose to see it as an opportunity to make quality investments in infrastructure. So we have increased our budget for infrastructure from $4.86 billion in 2012 to $5.94 billion in 2013. This increase of more than $1 billion will go towards paving all unpaved sections of our national road network, developing airports and other transport hubs in the country. At the same time, we also know that harnessing the expertise of the private sector will help us accelerate infrastructure development, which is why we are fostering greater engagement and partnership between the public and private spheres. We have already rolled out a number of projects. Some are under construction, while others are still open for participation. From the construction of classrooms and the rehabilitation, operation, and management of hydroelectric power plants to the construction of highways, amongst others. Agriculture and tourism are our other two priority sectors, not only because they make the most of our country's strengths, but also because they create jobs, complement existing livelihoods, and ignite rural development. Lack of infrastructure and support to farmers, among others, hampered the growth of our agricultural sector in the past. To remedy this, we went back to basics, improving irrigation systems and constructing and rehabilitating farm-to-market roads. We are also moving up the value chain and discovering new uses for certain products. For example, the coconut water that was once discarded as a waste product today has become a booming industry in its own right. From 2010 to 2011 alone, cocoa water exports increased by more than 700% in value and more than 800% in volume, with large demand coming from countries like the United States, Australia, and the Netherlands, and the sector is still growing. Tourism is another sector whose attraction is obvious, not only to those who are looking to invest or set up business, but also to those just looking to enjoy themselves. The Philippines is in high demand, with 4.3 million tourists in 2012, discovering that indeed it's more fun in the Philippines. With publications like Condé Nast Traveler, the New York Times, and Travel and Leisure magazine trumpeting our beaches, nightlife, and diving. Not to mention the Philippine hospitality that has made our people so famous. We are confident that we will meet and hopefully even surpass our 2016 target of 10 million tourist arrivals. Again, may I take this opportunity to invite you to come and visit the Philippines, whether for a vacation, for business, perhaps to explore the hotel industry, or for the World Economic Forum on East Asia 2014, which will be held in our country. Whatever you may be looking for, business opportunities in the sectors I've mentioned, or in manufacturing, shipbuilding, and information technology and business process management, a secluded and beautiful beach in Palawan, or the most lively street dancing in any of our festivals, whatever it is, I am certain that you will find it in our country and find it more fun at that. Tourism, agriculture, and infrastructure have played big roles in the revival of our economy. They remain our focus because we believe in their potential to contribute to job creation. This is why our investments into these priority sectors have been matched by great investments in our people, in healthcare, education, social services, among others. These ensure that when investors set up shop in the Philippines, they will find a healthy and capable labor pool ready to man their workstations and empowered consumers able to patronize their products and services. This is also why we have instituted key reforms and policies to level the playing field, minimize regulatory risk, and ensure a stable environment. At the same time, we know that sustained, inclusive growth that benefits investors and the public alike can only be achieved through longevity. The longevity of reform and good governance that has built trust, confidence, and optimism in the Philippines. We have taken steps to secure our country's future key legislation on subjects such as responsible parenthood and sin taxes, which have been enacted, even as a framework agreement on the Bangsamoro was signed between the national government and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, paving the way for a final enduring peace in the southern part of our country. As you may know, the Philippines has recently concluded midterm elections to elect candidates to our Senate and Congress, a process I viewed as a referendum on my first 3 years as president. The idea was that if the public were in agreement with the direction in which my administration was taking the country, they would elect our candidates into the legislature. Of the 12 Senate seats up for election, the voters gave us 9. In Congress, our Liberal Party and its coalition partners also have a very, very significant majority. To me, this is an affirmation of the mandate that I won in 2010 and a vote for continuity. If the public continues to share my vision for the country as they have done in the past years, then anyone who aspires to succeed me would do well to continue down the path we have taken and continue the tradition of good governance and public service, as well as the reform agenda that has so far brought success to our country. Today, all the factors are in place: political stability, low inflation, and low borrowing rates, opportunities for growth in almost all sectors, a government committed to integrity and empowerment, and a people known the world over for their industry, loyalty, and creativity. In our country, you have the recipe for sustained inclusive growth that benefits investors and the public alike. All that is left is for us to engage each other and work together, and this is precisely why we are here today. In fact, members of my cabinet are seated amongst you now, and I encourage you to approach them and ask questions, if you do have them, about our plans for the Philippines or about opportunities for investment. They will only be too happy to give you the information you require. After all, we are here to form partnerships with you. We are here because we are certain that together we can achieve great things for your businesses, for our economy, and most importantly, for our people. Thank you. Good day.